We are going to understand one more important Spring feature, that is wiring. Wiring means association between the Spring beans. For example, in the previous project that we developed, we have two Spring beans. They are address and person. Now every person object is going to have one address object inside of it. See here, this is. Now where did we mention which address object should go into which person object? That is the actual wiring configuration. For that, just we can refer this spring.xml file. In this spring.xml file, this is a person configuration and this is address bean configuration. Here the address bean ID we used here as a reference to the address property that is within the person bean. Now this kind of wiring is called explicit wiring or manual wiring. Instead of manually wiring, we can change this to auto wiring. What is this auto wiring? How it is going to work? Let us see. First we'll try to understand this auto wiring in XML based configuration, later annotation based configuration. What do we do for this auto wiring? Let us first try to remove this address attribute here. Means person is a bean, address is another bean, but we did not mention which address should go into the person bean. Okay, in this context, at this point of time, if we execute this project, the address is null. See, the address is null because there is no wiring between the address and the person. Now auto wiring we have to do. What is this auto wiring and where do we write the necessary configurations? Let us try to understand. Here in this bean, few properties we mentioned manually, that is hard coded, and if there are any more properties which I did not mention, those properties should be wired automatically. Auto wired default, normally it shows default, but we have multiple options here. Auto wire by name, by type, anyways the default. So what is this by name? Let us try to understand first. By name. What is this by name? The person bean have one of the member variable called address. What is the member variable? Name address. So exactly with the same name, one bean existing here in the Spring configuration file, so that it should be wired. Now let us change the bean name here. Instead of address, let us change this to XYZ. So as and when we change this to XYZ, immediately let us regenerate everything. What all we have to do here? Source, generate, constructor using field, and generate setters getters, and finally toString. Right, now I am repeating what I have done so far. In person class, I have changed the address class variable name is XYZ from address. Okay, now since we mentioned by name, Spring Framework expects any bean existing here in the beans configuration called XYZ, but there is no bean existing here called XYZ. It is address, not XYZ. Let us execute. It will return here null. Once again, I'll execute this project. Null. Now, what should be the configuration here? What we have to do? The member variable name of the address here in the person is XYZ. So in spring.xml, this should not be address, this should be XYZ. What is this? How Spring Framework understands this? Here the person is a bean with these properties, and any more properties, any more beans existing in the application context called XYZ, that should be wired automatically. Auto wire by name we mentioned. So here another property which is missing, which we did not hard code, is XYZ. If there is any bean called XYZ in the application context, that should be wired automatically. Let us try this. Executed successfully. Now the other configuration is auto wire by type. Autowire by type. Whenever you mentioned autowire by type, no matter the variable name, it can be addressed straight away. It will work fine. It works fine. But autowire by type is not well recommended. The reason is there can be multiple addresses. One address is residential address, and the another address is office address, and the another address is permanent address. Maybe multiple addresses every person having there in the system. So by type, multiple objects whenever are there, it will fail. I'll show you how is it. Address, res address, another address, office address. Now let us regenerate everything. Constructor from superclass, and constructor using fields, and next generate setters and getters. After that, toString, generate toString. This is fine. Okay, now I want to have here this address. The address is fine. Now here let us call this is res address. Okay, what is the naming convention we used? Res address and off address. Okay, and this is res address, and one more bean I want to have, that is office address. So beans address type, house number is 9999, street Hawaii, city Mumbai. Done. Two addresses I have. One is residential address, the other one is office address. But observe here, what is the autowire type I have given? By type. Means here the same type, two objects are there. Already I mentioned it will fail in this context because there is a conflict between multiple objects. No qualifying bean of type address available to single matching bean, but found two addresses which are res address and off address. So Spring framework did not understand which object is to be referred with which reference variable. So what is ideal here? Autowire by name is ideal. Now it works fine. See here, this is res address and this is off address. So this is autowire by name, autowire by type. Okay. Now so far what do we observe? This is totally XML based configuration. Thank you for watching.